Hello, it's me. Just a quick summary, really, of it's obviously all back together now. It was quite nice. I struck it up, and there was no big bangy noises. Um, which obviously I'm always a bit concerned when I delve into certainly cam timing and well, valve timing. I'm always quite nervous about doing valve timing. Um, as I said in the previous one of the previous videos, it seems extremely simple to set this thing up. The markings on the camshafts, the markings on the sprockets, everything went back together really nicely, and so there was no massive issues there, and it struck up no major oil leaks from either the cam cover, the rocker boxes, or the push rod tubes, so I'm over the moon there. There was a couple of little bits and bobs which I didn't cover in a video, but the torque adapter that I had to use for doing the rocker assemblies, I had to do a similar setup to do the rocker box covers, because once again, once you put the rocker box on, you can't get at the left hand side of the bike with the engine still in the frame. So I just adapted this little spanner to do the rocker box covers, and applied the same formula for working out the new torque setting. I also put together a small tool just to help me get the push rods back in, because they're quite a fiddle. And all this does two things really. I'll just pause you, bring you back in, because I'll take you down to a better level. Okay, so all I made was this, and it wasn't perfect, but it did the job. So that goes onto there, and then the blade actually goes into the slot, rather than trying to use a screwdriver where you've got no real control over it. I thought that was better, because you can lever, etc, etc, and you can control the this piece here that goes in once you've compressed the spring. All I did was put an adjustable wrench on this as a handle, and all that does is force the spring arrangement down so that you can clip the retainer in. As I say, it wasn't perfect, so I am in the process of actually making another one of those to make the job better. One of the best things that I did throughout the whole job was actually completely remove the Speedo console. If you remember, I was trying to do the job without taking the fuel tank off, because of the cross tube underneath here with the special clips on. But in taking the this Speedo out, it enabled me to have lots of movement on the tank, without having to disconnect the tube, and with some bits of wood as supports and props. It made the job so much easier. So certainly, if you are doing this with the engine in the frame, get rid of your Speedo console, and it'll just give you a lot more flexibility on the fuel tank. Okay, the other thing, when I changed the filter on this, got in an awful mess. Now, there is a tool, a tray that you can buy that goes underneath there, so that's definitely on the wish list for next time I change the oil in the oil filter. So if you look in the Harley accessory book, they do this tool here. Now, I don't know what it costs, but I mean, you could probably make a variant on it. But certainly, if you're servicing the bike yourself, changing the filter, that's definitely worth having. Godsend, really. I just thought I would also run through some of the other documentation that I've used during the job. With the kit that you get quite a bit of instruction with the actual all of the kit. So this is the cam plate and high volume fuel pump. Then you got another one, the sprocket spacing kit, and then the retention kit. So there's quite a bit of information there. I've also used this is a Harley workshop manual, and so there's quite a bit of, well, obviously there's everything you need to know in there. On top of that, the climber manual's not bad really. In all honesty, the climber manual seems to be a complete replica of the Harley manual. Same pictures, everything, but seems to have probably a little bit more text in it. The only thing I don't like about it is really the references. When you're reading through it, they reference you to all sorts of pictures, figures, etc, etc, and it doesn't really flow sometimes with when you're trying to look at something. The Haynes manual, not for me up to the usual Haynes manual that I've been used to working with over the years, but yeah, I could have done it without that. I think the climber manual has been quite useful throughout the process, and obviously the true Harley workshop manual was probably really a must if you're doing it. So all in all, yeah, I'm quite chuffed obviously to have it back up and running. I'm currently, as you can see, there's no air filter on it, so I'm just little job there, changing the just clean it and re-oiled it, so I'll get that back on this afternoon. One of the things I did do, and if you look at Del Boy's channel, Del Boy, when he had his Fat Boy, I think it was, he did a series of servicing on his Fat Boy, and one of the things he spoke about was doing a purging the oil when you change it. So you fill it up and you pump it through so many times until you've actually got clear oil to the filter. Then you drop the filter off, put the new filter on, and in the process, but before you do anything, just pull this oil line out. And so behind this bit of trim here, there's a little collet arrangement, and so you just squeeze it and pull the oil line out, unclip it here, and there's enough flexibility in that to get that out of the tank, and put a piece of pipe on that into a jug and turn it over. Well, in fact, I was turning it over on the back wheel, but you can turn it over on the starter. Take the spark plugs out first, turn it over, but it pumps all of the old oil out, and I got, well, thick end of a litre, I should think, of skanky oil, which would have ordinarily on an oil change would have gone straight back into the tank and mixed with the new oil you'd put in. So that's well worth doing. One of the things I've done subsequent to that is actually bought a replacement collet, because when I do it again, the collets look quite fragile, so I thought it was worth having one of those here. It is a reasonably straightforward job. I didn't go into massive detail on it because the YouTube and the internet, there's a mass of material already on YouTube where people have done this job. You've got Shane Conley, who did a great series on completely stripping an 88 engine and putting it back together. Any of the S&S videos, I'm sure they've done one where they've put their upgraded cam plate in. I think it's J&P Cycles have done a similar thing. So I didn't go into that level of detail because there are lots of people out there that A, can do a better presentation than I can, and are far better at the job. But I just wanted to almost layman's terms. And I always think if I can do it, most people can. If you've got the mechanical aptitude and you've got a set of spanners, most anybody can do this job. It's just time and patience. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching. I get very little feedback on any of these videos, but if you do think it was worthwhile, give me the old thumbs up, and quite happy to receive a bit of feedback. So once again, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you again.